You're listening to DruidCast episode 176.
the fields with a piece of machinery that could plow the soil and plant the seeds at half the cost of me. Oh, when progress arrived, it swept us aside. It didn't even bat an eye. Oh, now my life has changed, and all that remains is the struggle to survive. The breaking of the ties, the breaking of the ties, the breaking of the ties, the breaking of the ties. When the work dried up, we packed our bags, and made for the nearest town. But for men like us, straight off the land, there were no jobs to be found. One more night of going hungry, broken up by children's cries. Oh, and if you lose your grip on life, it's a blessing in disguise. The breaking of the ties, the breaking of the ties, the breaking of the ties, the breaking of the ties. If I lose this fight, on my headstone rise, here's a man who can never go back home. So many years I've been left standing here with one foot in the past, a reminder of our history down warm, well-trodden paths. Now society is consuming me, the old ways have to die. I can't break the chains of poverty, no matter how I try. The breaking of the ties, the breaking of the ties, the breaking of the ties, the breaking of the ties.
Hello my friends and welcome to DruidCast episode 176. I am your host Dave the Bard, and DruidCast is brought to you on or around the 20th of the month by the Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids. If you want to find out more about the Order and our courses, you can do that right over there at our website at www.druidry.org. Opening the show, you heard two fantastic songs by my bardic buddies. Alchemist Tears by the wonderful S.J. Tucker, and Breaking the Ties, the new single from James J. Turner, out on the 3rd of December. And don't forget, you can find links to all of the artists we feature on DruidCast in the show notes. Autumn has fallen and the days here are getting colder, and what better way to spend the day than to have a woodland walk with a good friend, and that is exactly what I did for this month's interview. Yes, my friends, Walking the Talk is back, and this month I took a walk with an old friend of mine, Mr. Gary Colcom. I first met Gary as a fellow podcaster. Him and his wife Ruth presented the Celtic Myth pod show for many years, but it's been our mutual love of magic that has been our shared interest over the years that followed. So we met up on the outskirts of a woodland right in the centre of Hastings. So, come on, pop on your walking boots and join us in that woodland, in that autumn, beautiful woodland, for this month's Walking the Talk. Walking the Talk, an interview series for DruidCast. Tell the people a bit about you and what brought you to this path.
Wow, I was 16, I think, when it first hit me.
Right.
And discovered that... Well, I grew up in a spiritualist family.
A spiritualist family?
Yeah, my grandmother was a trance medium. And very soon I came to feel these things myself. And we found a deck of tarot cards. And I learned how to read tarot. And for grandmother and friends saying, "Oh, you're doing very well, Gary, well done." Mm-hmm. That was all the encouragement I needed to research more.
So your family, there was no Oh, that's the occult. Stay away from that kind of thing. It was
Not at the beginning level, no.
not at that point.
By the time I was reading Crowley, there was.
That's a little bit different. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what was it like growing up in a spiritualist family then? Were there, seances and things happening?
Yeah, they held development circles.
Right. Okay.
And I was never allowed, being too young, to join in. But I heard years later. I heard some of the tapes of the messages they received and so on.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, it's quite interesting, and it's good to. I mean, things happen as well. These are the things that convince you. The things that happen.
Yeah.
Like overpowering smells.
Just appearing.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Lily of the Valley was sent in question, which was my great-great-grandmother's personal scent. Mm-hmm. So I always knew when she was around. But doors would unlatch and the television would go on and off. We had a solid push button, but it would still go on and off.
Right.
Enough for you to know that what the hell is going on here? This doesn't look right.
Yeah, right. I mean, that must instill in you from a very early age a belief in things otherworldly,
Not just a belief, but an acceptance.
Right, okay.
I kind of just regarded it as normal.
Just how it is.
Just how it is.
Like people who grow up in musical families not understanding why not everyone plays an instrument and that kind of stuff.
Was that you?
No, it wasn't, weirdly enough. I wish it was. Yeah, okay. And then, so from there, your spirituality and you had an acceptance and an experience of the other.
I did.
And then at age 16, you were within that, and then where did you go from there?
Well, I started to read ferociously. There used to be a metaphysical research group, the MRG, up on the ridge in Hastings, which is the high land behind the town. And I used to be a regular visitor there, pouring my way through the shelves and the books. I found out about witchcraft, and I found out about magic, and I found out about Aleister Crowley, or Crowley, as his name. Never known exactly how his name is pronounced.
I always used to say Crowley, but then Vivian Crowley came along, and it was Crowley, and I've never quite worked out which one it should be.
Well, there's a poem in Conks on Pax called "Bury Me in a Nameless Grave." There's only a very small one, but in it he rhymes his own name with unholy.
Oh, well, there you go.
So I'm guessing it's Crowley.
Right, okay.
But
just us lot. And Ozzy, he got it wrong with his song as well.
I remember.
Yeah. So, and I mean, at this time there was no internet.
We're talking about the late 70s.
The late 70s, right, okay.
Yeah.
So that was, I mean, well, the PF, I guess, were in existence by then.
Yep, I was a member.
You remember? Yeah.
I was.
Yeah. And your path led you down the Crowley path, or
no? That was
the witchcraft
that was still the witchcraft path. The Crowley stuff was something that bubbled along in the background for many years.
Yeah.
But the witchcraft path, being an initiatory tradition, and being very conscious that at the time entry was only available through the apostolic succession. The line after line of initiates, each keeping it within boundaries. It made entry very difficult.
And finding out who they were and where they were, I guess.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So we found something called Sayax Wicca, or Saxon witchcraft, which was created by Raymond Buckland.
That's right, Raymond Buckland. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that is one of the few sources, excuse me, of self-initiation.
Right. Okay.
So we practiced that for a couple of years.
Yeah.
As me and some friends.
And I bet those were good times.
They were good times, yes. Hunting for a ritual sword in all the antique shops in Hastings. Yeah, we eventually found a theatrical one that did the job perfectly.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
You've got to have your Solomonic sword, haven't you?
You have, yeah.
Okay, well, we've just entered into these woods, so let's take a little step further, and then we'll let me know why you've brought me to this particular place.
Okay.
So you've brought me to this woodland in Hastings, and looking around, because it's podcasting, let's just see what we've got. We've got a lot of sycamore by the looks of things up here, and the ground is covered with the bramble that's going over. There's holly I can see as well. There's But it is. A lot of it is maple and sycamore. And this little bit anyway, you can see the ash has gone over at the top there. But it's mostly a deciduous southern England woodland in the middle of the sea. So anyway, why are we here? What's your connection with this place?
Well, when I was about 19, myself and several other members from the coven that I was a part of used to come here to meditate,
Right.
to be with nature. Being neither of us or any of us drove at the time, we were too young. So this was easily within walking distance. And as you'll see, hopefully you'll encounter some of the magic of the place.
Yeah.
There is a spot I would want to take you to see if we can find it.
Okay.
Although I do hear it's changed a lot over the years. So I'm a bit trepidatious myself.
If we'll find the spot.
Yeah, the spot will be there, but what they've done to it, I dread to think.
Oh, well, we'll have to see. So, you're not many, I don't think many 19-year-olds meditated in those days, did they?
No, me and my best friend at the time were probably fairly obscure and different from others. At one stage, one summer, we walked around with staves.
Yeah.
And that got quite a few strange looks.
That got noticed. So you were what is commonly known as potentially a weird kid, yes?
I was a weird kid.
Yeah. Okay.
And
how was school and growing up for you because of that?
Well, at one stage they tied me to a column at school and filled my clothing full of paper and were going to burn me as a witch.
Oh, okay.
So that's a memory that's never left for.
Wow.
Can't imagine why, but yeah.
Cool. All right. So it had its ups and downs then.
It did. But the relationships, as always, were the reward for all the.
Yeah.
That's the growth of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a few years, we actually came in contact with a genuine coven and were invited to join.
Yeah, I can imagine why. Because you probably had a good foundation by then anyway, by the sounds of things.
I had a good foot in many doorsteps, yeah.
Yeah. And so, okay, you could have meditated in a park, couldn't you? You could have meditated in your bedrooms.
Yes.
But you chose to come to a wood.
At dawn.
At dawn. What was that? What was that all about?
Well, that's because this is the nearest and purest essence of nature that we could find.
Yeah.
And witchcraft is not just about the magic; it's about the gods.
And then the connection.
And the connection you have to them.
Yeah.
And you try to learn it.
Yeah. It's a gut thing, isn't it?
It is very much a gut thing, and by avoiding places like this, you're doing yourself no favours.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, let's see if we can
go on a bit, shall we?
Yeah. Let's go on a bit and see where we go. Yeah. Thank you. There always has to be a dog on the walk
and there
in
are
the talk
none madder
session.
than spaniels.
No, there aren't. They are. Well, I think I might be a spaniel actually.
Are you right?
In my heart, yeah. I mean, I know I say I'm, that stag is my animal, but I've always felt like inside I'm actually a spaniel.
Raving spaniel, mad trying to get out.
Yeah. So
we're hunting the water.
We're hunting the water. There's water here.
There is water here.
Oh, right on. Okay. Oh, I love this sound of just of the fallen autumn leaves.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful, isn't it?
It is. Autumn is one of my favourite times of year. The other is spring.
Yes.
So kind of like the intermediary or the liminal space between summer and winter.
Yes.
What about yourself? What do you like best?
What
season appreciates?
Funnily enough, I've always been a summer person in my heart, and I've always had kind of inner distrust of autumn because I know that it's the doorway to winter.
That's true.
But I've worked on that relationship, to be honest, over the past kind of 5 or so years, and now. I can see that it's not all about the warmth. I was born in June the 16th. I'm a summer solstice child, and summer to me means those things. But actually, do you know what?
What?
Those liminal times, although they are times of perceived balance, that's the time when things are really happening.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It's
very much so.
Autumn and spring are the time
very much so.
when things are really happening.
The space on the strand between the sea and the land is a magical space as well, and there you'll find things happen.
That's it. The
Yeah,
liminal space,
absolutely.
the times of balance. We're not
Can I show you something?
Yes, you can. Yes.
Do you see over there? There's a mound raised in the middle.
Yeah.
It must have been about 4 o'clock in the morning one morning. I was seated on top of there, watching the stars go by, and I saw a green ball, like of energy or something. I don't know what it was, but a green ball shoot down from the sky and bounce into a tree. And then I saw a female form step out from that tree. It lasted 5 or 10 seconds, and I was absolutely stunned.
And that was over on
that mound over there.
It's not a barrow or anything. Is it just a mound? It's just.
I think it's just a mound. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Mounds. Did you say just a mound?
But is there such a thing? Yeah,
is there
absolutely.
such a thing in the woods? If you come across a mound in the woods, these hollow hills. And
that was my first encounter with the Fae.
That's amazing.
And I think I remained calm enough not to disrupt it.
Wow.
And then it just faded away.
What do you think it was? She was. What do you think she was?
Well, my immediate answer is a dryad, a spirit of a tree, but I don't know. Ultimately, I don't know.
Yeah. Wow. Can we go and sit on that round?
Why not?
Yeah. Yeah, so I was just saying as well, I just finished a song about the autumn equinox, and one of the lines are, "The oak and the holly stand equal again." You know, they do not battle at those times, you know, they stand as equals.
That's cool.
The night and day, and
that's cool.
Yeah, yes, I'm looking forward to recording that and getting it out. What a fabulous mound. There we are. So what we can see here is there are paths going all around it, but just in the woods is a mound.
Illuminated by sunshine.
Illuminated by beautiful sunshine coming through the dappled autumn falling leaves. How's that for poetry?
It's pretty good.
I'm a bard, you know.
Yeah, I expect this sort of stuff.
Let's come and have a look.
Expectations soon, you know. Over there we've got a Victorian walled garden, because this place originally was part of the estate of Bohemia House.
That's the name.
It is the name, isn't it?
Bohemia House. Right. Okay.
And that garden is original, so it's Victorian.
This is weird, isn't it?
It is strange.
I mean, it's not weird for you. You've been here loads. You say that you spent about 20 years coming to this wood.
I have, over the years, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it literally is a walled garden in the middle of the woods. And the walls are not insignificant either.
No, must be 8 feet tall, something like that.
Wow.
You can see right into the garden.
Yeah, let's have a look. So, where were you sitting when
Up
this
there.
happened?
You see that tree, the large tree in the centre?
Yeah.
Up there with my back against the tree.
Right. So up here, maybe. Let's go up here. So where were you looking? Do you think? Where was
down there?
Down there.
And it was over there somewhere that she came out. The trees have changed. There used to be one there. I think we could just about see the remains of it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It might have had a lot to do. My perception might have had a lot to do with it being 4 a.m, tired and just chilling out. Used to spend a lot of time at night time in these woods.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's when it all happens. And I think that's a holm oak, isn't it, over there? But looks thing one of the kind of evergreen oaks, I think. Let's go and have a look.
All right.
So we're still on the mound and by the tree, and we're under this holm oak. And I was just thinking that people can live lifetimes and not see things like that. But those things that have fallen into your presence, you know. And do you think that may have happened because of your involvement with the spiritual stuff when you were growing up? Because did it maybe open up certain parts of you that other people find harder to learn how to open, I guess?
Dave, I don't know. I can't answer it for other people, really. I don't know. But for myself, I think I can say that I grew up with a large degree of acceptance of many things that normally you might have shut by and said, oh, it's a reflection in the sunlight or whatever. But I accepted these things as existing and accepted these things as happening. So yeah, acceptance.
And you do have a very, I think, deep and personal relationship with the other world, with the realm of the fairy or of the she.
Yeah, I do.
That was that the first time you'd seen a kind of a manifestation of that kind of nature?
Yes, it was.
And do you think that is why that thread has continued to this day with your connection with those things?
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to show you the second encounter of space I had.
Oh, okay.
If it's still here.
Yeah. And so what do you know, after so many years of feeling that connection with what I would see as the other world, and I never mean that as another world.
Sure.
I always think that, you know, all you need to do is just step slightly to one side and you'll be there. You just need to know how to step slightly to one side to see it. It's all it's all here. It's just our eyes can't always perceive
Absolutely.
it. Absolutely. What is that your kind of understanding of that?
Definitely.
Of their worlds, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think there are places you can go that make it easier. I think there are things you can do that make it easier.
Mm-hmm.
Ritual, for example, in the right place and at the right time helps that. They used to say the veil becomes thin.
Yes.
Which is an expression I very much go for.
Yeah.
I believe in that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Right. Some people will see that as a realm of the gods, and other people say no, the gods are different. You know, the gods are in a different place. You know, what do you have a feeling about that?
Dealing with the gods is something that's always left me in awe.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that I have a great practical understanding of. Encounters I've had with deity that have left me breathless are different from those I've had with the Fae.
Right.
And I think it's probably about as far as I can go in actually saying what I think, because it's only based on experience.
I totally get that. Well, let's leave this space to its peace and quiet. And
it's lovely, isn't it?
Continue. It is really, really lovely. I can totally get why you would come here at night. How far away did you live from this space?
Probably about half a mile in that direction.
Okay, so it's pretty local.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, onward.
Onward it is. So I used to walk through the woods a lot during the night so that I could get to the place where I would sit and wait for the dawn. And one particular night, the moonlight filtering through the trees quite brightly, I was lucky. I was actually quite scared at first, to be honest, because I heard a movement in the shrubbery to the sides.
Right.
Well, there's not much, but it used to be denser than this. And I could see in the moonlight, all of a sudden, a small group of badgers burst out onto the path.
Wow.
There was an adult and several cubs. 3 cubs. And they gambled. They played with each other. Just walked ahead of me. I was stunned. I was trying to very carefully place my feet so that I would make no noise. And they must have walked on in front of me for 50 yards or so before disappearing into the trees again. Absolutely astounding.
Yeah.
And it was then that we discovered there are a lot of badger sets in the area.
Mm-hmm.
And several groups of the coven and I took part in raising signatures on a petition to try and protect them, because there was rumours of them being gassed and horrible things like that. And it was from there that the coven, or later recalled known as the Grove of the Badger, came from.
Right. With that connection with this particular area and its very, very active local spirits.
Yeah, it definitely is, isn't it?
Yeah. All right. And the Grove of the Badger. How old were you when you were in the Grove of the Badger? When were we
Probably my 30s, I would think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you'd been involved for a long time.
Quite a long time.
And that was the Grove of the Badger. Was its root in Wicca? Or?
Its roots were in Alexandrian Wicca.
It was in Alexandrian Wicca.
I had been initiated in the late 70s by then.
Right, okay.
So
because,
this
of course,
was 80s.
Alexander's was local here.
Yeah, so I worked with him a couple of times.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
That was quite an experience.
How did you find that?
He was a prankster, a trickster.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had a wonderful voice that you had to quieten down and strain to hear what he was saying, which I don't know whether it's deliberately done to attract attention or whether it's just the way he was. I don't know.
Yeah.
Didn't know him well enough, but
there's a lot of Alexandrian. Well, when I first came to paganism from ceremonial magic in the early 90s, There were a lot of Alexandrian covens around Hastings that must have a lot of them have stemmed from him,
his work in Bexhill,
and Maxine and what they were doing at the time. Yeah, amazing. Wow. Okay, and that then became the Grove of the Badger.
Yeah.
Right. Well, tell me a little bit more about that in a minute. So we've come down these steps. I mean, we call them steps. They are steps.
Just
about steps in the wood, down into the valley here, and there is
it's a pool.
Yeah, and quite a large one, really.
With moss and lichen and things.
It's got everything you need for ritual here, hasn't it?
It has.
Do you have any kind of memories of ritual by the pool here?
No.
No?
All of our ritual was done inside a temple rather than in the woods.
Oh, really?
Something I now regret.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the things in my later life, I thought, well, in some ways it would be nice to work closer to nature.
Oh, let me just let everybody hear this. Don't know if you can hear that. Oh, and there's another one down there. So this is this is the upper pool, and then this is emptying slowly. I guess because of rain and the like, and heading down into a lower pool down there.
There's a stream that feeds this pool.
There is a stream, right? Okay. And we have another dog. We always have to have dogs on DruidCast. Where are we heading now?
Back up there, past the dog.
Past the dog. Brilliant. Okay. All right.
Hello, little fella.
This looks like a Bitzer dog. It does. A wee brown dog.
It is a wee brown dog.
As Billy Connolly would have said.
Love Billy Connolly.
Yeah.
Hi.
All right.
Hi.
Yeah. And this is the bank where the badgers were.
No, a bit further on. We're on this side of the stream.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the badger sets were.
Well, let's head there. That's great. So heading up by the stream that feeds the upper
and lower pools
and upper lower pools, and we're heading up now towards
a little spot which is where we used to do our meditation.
Right, and you haven't been here for
rituals.
Quite some time.
I haven't. No, it was somewhere between 5 and 10 years ago. I don't remember when we were here last. And I've heard some rumours that the local council has stepped in and done things.
Oh.
So this is kind of a voyage of discovery for me as well.
Okay, well, is it just up here? Is it this space?
It should be. Yes, yeah, a hollow carved out of the hill.
I can see it, yes. Oh, this is perfect ritual space, this. Oh, yes. Well, look at that.
Yeah, they have done it.
Okay.
This is an 1830s, 1850s, I think. I think this house was originally 1831 built. It was a folly.
Right, okay.
Of what they Victorian sort of Roman bath look like.
Okay.
So what they've done is they've dug into the hill where a natural stream exists.
Yeah.
So this is continually fed. I don't know how much closer we can get.
Yeah. But there's a big gate there. Was the gate there? Not
no, this is the local council fitted this lot.
Oh.
Citing danger and severe danger.
Oh, careful now, as they say.
But yeah. And I used to sit over there on that side.
Right.
My friend used to sit on that side. You look hard enough amongst the graffiti, and I'm ashamed to say you'll find an S and a G rune.
Oh, okay. What a shame that they've done this. What could possibly be a problem here?
Where's the severe danger?
Where's the severe danger? There's a tiny little pool that's about 6 inches deep, and something that it doesn't go anywhere else, does it? It's just into the limestone or whatever.
But they did this without planning permission.
Right.
And the friends of Summerfield Woods and one historic England society or something like that, I forget the name, were fighting them about it, so they retroactively applied for planning permission for work they'd already done.
And of course got it, because it's themselves that they're applying to, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. Well, I can see why you would sit here you'd probably just bring in just a couple of little candles in here or something, and
exactly so.
light it up.
Something to sit on, because the rocks are always wet.
Yeah, and then just sit here and just listen,
and
be in the earth.
And you can hear this. The longer you listen to that water, the more you can hear the voice of the Fae in it.
Yeah,
there's something there.
Yeah, I wonder if this
almost if just stretched a little bit harder, you could understand what they were saying.
Mm-hmm.
But I never made it.
Will this even pick it up if I just put this in here and just be quiet for just a second? Yeah, I hope that came out, because it is very, very peaceful.
So this is what I brought you to see.
Yeah, and is this a natural spring under there as well? So
yes.
This is, I mean, it's it's like a holy well, isn't it? It is,
yeah.
Anywhere else.
We were very lucky.
If this was in Cornwall, it would have a saint attached to it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And just this, I wonder why. What a grim thing to do. But there we are.
We met the strangest of peoples while we were working here.
Mm-hmm.
One chap came round claiming that Christopher Lee actually was Dracula.
What? He wasn't?
Absolutely. And that somebody else would claim frequently that he always met Crowley in the woods.
Right.
As he lived a couple of miles away.
Yes.
And died a couple of miles away. That's possible, I suppose. The Bohemian set were a part of Bohemia House.
Ah.
So the Victorians would party, and they had swimming pools and all sorts in his house. It was a mansion-sized thing.
So Crowley may well have walked around that walled garden.
He may well have done. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll never know. But
he's a complicated character, isn't he? You can't deny that a lot of the magic that is still used to this day was developed
from his work.
Yeah, exactly. He's a very, very complicated character, and I still have a soft spot because those early books were the only things I could find.
Yeah, same
on
here.
Magic.
Same here.
Yeah.
And I did the old Liber Resh Adorations of the Sun 4 times of the day. I did that for several years.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And his, and the work of the Golden Dawn and all those things that became.
That was something else I tried to do, to get into the Golden Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't find any orders locally or within my reach.
Yeah.
So I started to build models of the temple, and my aim was to reconstruct the neophyte ceremony, learn it to the point where I knew where everything was, and to learn it to the point where I could do it astrally in my mind.
Right. And did you get to that point?
No.
It's quite complicated.
I got close. Made models of the officers and started to learn it, but no, I didn't finish.
Is your, you obviously still have a connection to ceremonial magic and that kind of thing?
I do, Dave, yeah.
What is it about it that still, after all these years, is the thing that is like fires you up? And
the beauty of symbol.
Mm-hmm.
Symbol is something that with words you can try and describe something, and even then there's some latitude in the meaning of words. But if you use symbols to describe something, then you're dealing with an almost infinite possibility of meanings.
Yeah.
And for each symbol, the sheer beauty of that infinity leaves me breathless. It really does.
Yeah.
This is why the Lord and Lady, the God and Goddess, are themselves symbols of polarity of all kinds.
Mm-hmm. And that still speaks to your heart, obviously.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
I don't find it easy in today's world to separate them out as being non-inclusive, because I see them as far greater than gender-based entities.
Sure. But inclusive means people who believe in polarity, right? That's what inclusive means. It doesn't mean, you've got to include it all.
Yeah, I would like to think so.
Yeah, exactly. So that's
I would like to think so.
That's all good.
There used to be a tower there that's long since gone.
Oh, really? What, as part of the folly?
Yeah.
Right next to this...
yeah.
And was this here? Was this all here?
Yes.
All of the brickwork would do?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So it's literally just all of the metalwork around it.
There that is probably not... Yeah, you used to be able to walk round this path, climbing up, and to get onto the very top.
Yeah.
Where there was a lion's head there, looking out over the water.
Wow, what a shame.
It is a shame.
Yeah, and there's a great big barrier at the top of these steps now to say, don't go up there, be careful, okay, all right. And I know there are some who have said to me that ceremonial magic is very staid, it's very serious, it's very, great neophyte, light the candle of the West. Yes, Zelator, I will do that, and all those things. You know what I mean? But it doesn't have to be like that, does it? It can be joyous and actually. So. My feeling has always been that the root of ceremonial magic, of what it was about to me when I was studying it, was to find that part of myself that was holy, that was sacred, and to connect with it. And some people call that a holy guardian angel and that kind of thing. And that is still, to me, a really valuable and powerful life quest.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Likewise. Yeah, they brought that into our Wicca. The Kabbalah was always an essential part of Alexandrian Wicca. Right from the beginning.
Interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Just up the hill, you were talking about how the group you were in became the Grove of the Badger.
That's right.
What happened to the Grove of the Badger, and where did your life lead after that for a while?
Well, I moved on from the Grove of the Badger at a time that Philip took it over, and it changed direction, I believe.
Okay, and that's Philip Shellcrass,
Philip Shellcrass from the British Druid Order.
Yeah, and so the Grove of the Badger, in a way, became
with the fledgling Druid Order, I would guess.
Druid Order,
yeah.
Right. Okay, well there you go. Yeah.
He said as much, but that's his story to tell.
Exactly. And your direction went off in different ways, I guess.
It did.
That because you could feel it was getting more druidic, and it wasn't your way particularly, or?
My circumstances changed.
Right.
I moved to a different part of town and got involved in a different group of people.
Yeah.
And it was some years before I picked up Athame again.
Right. Okay. So you had a break. You had a break from everything spiritual, or?
No. Mm-hmm. There are some things you can't take a break from, and
they're part of who you are.
Dreams and visions and things like that are always there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you, after a few years, you came back in and found your way back into another group.
Yep. We had made another group.
Still in Hastings.
Still in Hastings on the other side. Worked with those people for several years, and then I moved down to Bournemouth, and was involved in a very strange and very hard group that was training, but it involved 4 people, myself and 3 ladies, one of whom was young, one of whom was a mother, and one of whom was elderly.
Right. We can see the symbolism there then right away, yeah.
So that was very, very powerful, but very hard to train in the ways that I had been trained.
Yeah.
Because the polarities were forever shifting.
And was that still based around the Wicca?
That was based around Alexandrian Wicca.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you still felt that you had a connection with your ceremonial magic. I've never been involved with Gardnerian Wicca or Alexandrian Wicca. I've never been initiated, but I've always had the impression that Alexandrian Wicca was slightly more ceremonial.
In my experience, you're correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
definitely.
Right, and the Gardnerian was more the folklore kind of stuff as well.
In fact, we were told during our training that the 3 degrees of Wicca, which I'm sure you've heard about. Yeah, good. Were the initial 3 degrees of entry into a ceremonial order.
Right. Okay.
And that the Wicca was created as a front door to it. Right. Now, I think that's probably a load of poo, to be honest.
Yeah, probably. Probably. Yeah, one of those stories, probably.
Absolutely.
Everyone's had one of those stories.
But it felt like that.
Yeah. In my ceremonial magic training, I was, I think, a neophyte as my entry level, Zelator for the next level, and then I was a practicus or a philosophus, and I can't remember which one came first.
The practicus, I think.
Practicus and then philosophus.
Yeah.
And that's as far as I've known a number of ceremonial magic people over the years, and that seems to be as far as a lot of people got. And I wonder whether or not the rest of the grades actually exist.
Some of them, the higher ones, I think, in people's minds more than in reality.
Yeah. But good times. Because
you would have stopped there, because for them you got the face to link and the journey across the portal.
what for me it was, if I'm honest, is that at that time in my life, I wanted something. Ceremonial magic felt to me like that. The aim was the connection with that part of the self, the guardian angel, and that aspect of the self. And what I needed was something earthy.
Yes.
What I needed was something with mud and herbs and the moon and stars but really getting into the earth. And that's why I think I turned my face away from ceremonial magic and towards paganism, because at the time I wasn't looking for druidry or Wicca or whatever. I just knew that there was something that I felt was missing in ceremonial magic, and that was that. It was very much about the stellar and about, you know, that kind of connection rather than with the earth itself.
Yeah, I've been trying to unite those two things myself for years.
Yeah. And how have you got on?
Not successfully.
No, entirely successfully.
Totally successfully. Luckily enough, I've got a relationship to the Egyptian gods as well as native gods.
All right.
So working with Egyptian mythology does help to link ceremonial magic through to paganism.
Yeah, right. Oh, go on. You can't just tell me that. You've got to tell me a bit more about the Egyptian gods and your connection with those.
We did start to create a set of Egyptian rituals.
Right,
for the
okay.
company, made up a pure set of white robes and all the rest of it.
Wow.
Tried to paint things gold and goodness knows what else. But the rituals were hard because we were trying to use the Egyptian language a lot, and it was hard work and wasn't everybody's cup of tea, to be honest. I think the results were fewer than the effort put in. So that failed.
Yeah. I think there was a lot of experimentation in magic in the kind of 90s, and when would this have been, the 80s?
Late 80s.
Late 80s, early 90s, yeah. There was a lot of experimentation with this kind of thing going on.
That's very true.
Yeah.
And freedom to do so.
Yes, absolutely. All right, well, let us continue our walk.
Okay.
So we've just walked past the actual walls of the walled garden, and they are definitely higher than 8 foot.
They are absolutely.
8 foot. And we met through your podcast that you did for a number of years.
The Celtic Myth Pod Show.
The Celtic Myth Pod Show. So let me maybe ask you a little bit about what about the show and what inspired you to start that and that kind of thing.
Yeah, surely. As what I think has since become known as a British Traditional Wiccan, a BTW.
BTW, you gotta love it.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
The gods of land were always strong and dear to heart.
Right.
So got to a certain age, and instead of just practicing with the forces behind the form, I wanted to learn more about the form itself.
Right. Yeah.
And hello. And so it was by looking at Celtic mythology and trying to understand it that we realised it wasn't an easy task. Mm-hmm. Many of the books that were written at the time were either academic or written by Victorians. So in order to understand it, we started to dramatise it.
Yeah. Yes, because you didn't just tell the stories. You literally had you acted the roles.
Yeah, we dragged friends in whenever they were passing by.
Me and Kerry included.
Yes,
a couple of them.
You have.
Right. Yeah.
They're much appreciated.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. But I think it's done its job, and we're now debating where to go and what to do with it.
What to do from here? But are all the shows still online?
Available? No, they're still available.
Yeah. So
I'll give you the address for your show notes.
Yes, I'll put them in the show notes. But if you look up Celtic Myth Pod Show, you will find the website's still there and everything. Yep. So look at the website and all of the shows there. And I think your last one was the second branch of the Mabinogi was the last one you did, which I thought actually was the best one you'd ever done.
Oh, thank you.
You know, for me listening to it, you put in a lot of information that you'd obviously gleaned from other sources into the story, and it took a couple of episodes before it even got to the point where a lot of people, when they recognise the story starting. Exactly. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. So what led you? What? Yeah, we are in the woods, but as you can hear, we're also in a town. So yeah. So that must have taken a lot of research and kind of thing to do that.
Will Parker's Mabinogion was probably our primary source.
Yeah. yeah.
Wonderful book.
Yeah.
4 branches, I think he called it, didn't he?
That's right. Yes, 50 quid too, but
Yeah.
worth every penny.
Yeah.
I've got to say. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for bringing me to your space. Thank you for taking time
You're
out of
most
your day
welcome.
to talk to me and for being on DruidCast. I still think, Gary,
Yes.
that there's a book in you that I want to read and that everyone else wants to read, because you're so interesting and you know so much. So,
Well, I don't
so
know.
thank
See
you.
what the future brings. But
Yeah, yeah.
You're most welcome, Dave, and thank you very much for being so kind.
Blessed be, my friend. Thank
Blessed be.
The sun is setting, winter's eve is here. Hurry, hurry, Guinevere, hurry, hurry, Guinevere, hurry, 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 Guinevere. The trees are bare, the ground is cold, yet the forest is not deadly. The magic in a flash of green. Ivy, mistletoe, and holly. The ivy, mistletoe, and holly. The sun is setting, winter's eve is here. Hurry, hurry, Guinevere. Hurry, hurry, Guinevere. Hurry, 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 Guinevere. Let's dance and sing and twirl about and celebrate so lively. Inside our house we will not doubt the holy mistletoe and ivy. The holy mistletoe and ivy. The sun is setting, winter's eve is here. Hurry, hurry, Guinevere. Hurry, hurry, Guinevere. Hurry, 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 Guinevere. Take your glance and watch your blood. Drape them round King Arthur's hall. A happy feast has now been earned. The holy ivy and the mistletoe. Hurry, 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 Guinevere. The holy ivy and the mistletoe.
I call to you. I am older and I am worthy. I wait beside pierced, and I have hung myself from Yggdrasil. No food, no drink, hunger
Wisdom shuffle. One I shall know. One I shall teach. Wisdom shuffle. Wisdom shuffle. Wisdom shuffle.
I loved that walk with Gary, and I was serious. I really do hope one day he puts his experiences down on paper to share as a book. An understated man with great knowledge and wisdom. And I know you listen to the show, Gary, so once again, thank you, Gary, for spending the time and taking me to that very special place. After the show, you heard The Solstice by Jessie Thompson from her album The Holly, the Ivy and the Mistletoe, CD available now, and the digital download on the 1st of December. Jessie says Guinevere goes into the forest in search of some magical help, protecting her midwinter celebrations. The forest trees welcome Guinevere and gift her holly, ivy and mistletoe. This is a piece about finding the magic of a flash of green in a seemingly bare forest. Wonderful. Thank you very much for sending that in. After Jessie, you heard Rune from Ginger Doss from their Sacred Flow concept album, where sacred practice becomes music. I have always absolutely adored Ginger's work, and this album is fantastic. So do go to their website and check it out. As I say, all the links in the show notes. Well, my friends, this music means we are approaching the end of the show, but before I go, let's have the results of last month's competition. The prize was a copy of Samhain, The Roots of Halloween by Luke Eastwood, and the question I asked was, the 31st of October is Samhain Eve, but that day has become known by another popular name. What is that name? Such an easy one for you all. Needless to say, a lot of entries. Of course, the answer is Halloween, and the first name drawn from the hat and winner of that great book is Valerie Wajkowski from the USA. Hope I said that right, Valerie. Congratulations. That book will be with you very soon. The prize this month is a copy of Blodeuwedd, the latest book by a recent guest on the show, Jenna Tellendrew. And the question I'd like you to answer is, Blodeuwedd's story is held within the fourth branch of the Mabinogi and... Well, okay, we're going to have a bit of a spoiler alert here, but the book is at least 700 years old, so I think that's okay. At the end of the tale, if you haven't read it, close your ears. At the end of the tale, she is transformed into a bird. What bird is it? At the end of the fourth branch of the Mabinogi, she is transformed into a bird. What bird is it? Email your answer to podcast@druidry.org along with your full postal address, and one of you will win that fabulous book. Well, my friends, that is a show. I've decided to take a leaf from my podcasting buddies over at the Wiggly and Way podcast. DruidCast started in June 2007, 176 continuous podcasts with over 3 million downloads, which for a very niche podcast is pretty astounding. So I'm bringing season 1 to a close with this show, and I'm going to have December off and then come back in January 22 for the start of season 2. So thank you all for downloading the show, for subscribing and listening each month. If you're new to the show, all of the previous episodes are still all available, so do dive in. Other than that, my friends, I wish you all a wonderful solstice next month, and I will see you again on or around the 20th of January 2022 for the next stage in the life of DruidCast. Until then, I wish you all peace and blessed be. Goodbye.